All right. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Basically, we are here to kind of wrap up 2022, kind of talk about everything LAD, give you some numbers, stats, background into things that happened throughout the year. We'll put a nice little bow on 2022. If you have any questions as we go through, please go ahead, let me know. We can stop at that moment. We can talk through any numbers you see, or if you have any feedback or anything as we go, please go ahead and just let us know. And then we'll kind of shift gears near the end there to start talking about 2023. Talk about some of our goals, high level, what our budget's looking like, and uh, go ahead and kick off 2023. So again, thank you all for joining. So let's go ahead and get started. So we had our goals set up for 2022, and we made them very lofty. We wanted to make sure that we gave far out, kind of far-reaching goals that maybe we can push towards and reach. Each of the prior years, we've set kind of goals, and we've met them every year. So we wanted to test that limit by uh, seeing if it was something that we were just reaching whatever goal we set to, and that was what we got, or if it was truly we were just able to uh, kind of predict kind of where we're going. So I will say that we did not hit a few of our goals. We were far off on some of them, but overall, 2022 was an amazing year. We saw some amazing growth in terms of the amount of mail that we're sending out, in terms of the people that we've been able to get to sign up to receive letters. And there's been so many facets of this year that has been amazing. We have more of a foundation built around us. So as we're growing, we're able to kind of take in that growth and kind of build as we go. So it's been great. The first goal that we did, which was our most loftiest, was the number of letters sent. Our goal was to send about 15,000 letters. And that number was derived from looking at how we were trending at the end of 2021. At that point, we were sending about 800 letters per month, and it was trending up as we go. We were still finding and signing up a lot of brand new volunteers. The number of volunteers that were writing letters were increasing, and we kind of did an analysis that if that trend kept going up and we kept increasing at that rate, this year we could see between, at that rate, 12 to 13,000. So if we put a little bit more into it, could we reach the 15? And we actually found that because of some of the growth and the options that we've put out there for our volunteers to help contribute with or participate with LAD from, the number of letters sent did not hit that goal. We did send an amazing amount of letters, 7,027. So we missed our goal by almost 8,000. But what we found is throughout 2022, we have been giving our volunteers more options and ways that they can interact with us and contribute, that people are gravitating towards what they're more specialized or more comfortable doing. So while letter writing was the main activity that we had kind of navigating through, we've now opened up and we have hugs, and we've been able to advertise, the need for hugs, for envelopes, decorated envelopes, for stamp contributions, things like that we've been able to go through, in addition to our birthday and celebration cards. So what we found is that we've had less of a bump or raise in letters sent. We did send more than we sent last year, but it wasn't as much. But all of the other areas that we had throughout LAD, we're seeing very large increases in their numbers and efforts. So while this is low and not where we wanted as part of the trend, we are still trending well, that we're getting a lot of participation from others. Now, where this actually has become a little bit more of an issue as we start getting into this year is that with the reduction in the number of letters sent, we're unable to kind of turn over the list, provide letters to everyone on a very consistent basis. So some people are waiting multiple months in order to get between from one letter to the next, because when we're sending 3, 4, 500 letters in a month now, but we have over 1,000 people that we write to, it takes a little bit of time to get there. So we'll talk about the 2023 goals as we kind of move forward, but one of them is definitely going to be finding ways to increase the interaction that volunteers have in terms of writing letters, and being able to get more letters out there to provide to those on a more recurring basis. Ideally, we'd love to be able to send one within a month of the last, so one every month. But right now we don't have the volume of letters coming in that can support that. The next one was for card sent. So we had put our sights on 3,000 cards. We saw where we were trending from last year, and we were like 3,000. It's a stretch goal, but we can do it. And we absolutely obliterated that. We actually sent 8,488 cards this year, beating it by almost 5,500. People really have connected to the creating birthday cards, to creating holiday cards, and sending those in. So we've had a lot of personalized cards that we've been taking in and then sending out to our recipients. And that has outpaced by far what we were expecting. And that's part of that shift that we're seeing, that more people may connect to being artistic more than maybe letter writing. So that's where we've seen that kind of gravitation over to more cards in that piece. So we did increase this year the number of celebrations that people are able to request. Before, it was their birthday plus one celebration they choose. This year we did include it for 2022. We included that they could choose 2, and that's gone over really well. People have definitely been updating their profile to be able to choose that second one. And so that's been great. I'm going to expect that we're going to see the number of cards sent increase more and more. It's also becoming a popular activity for our corporate groups. So one of our favorite corporate groups here is Advent Health, and they hold a lot of volunteer events that LAD is a part of. And they are very artistic. They love to create handmade cards. So they're making birthday cards. They made a lot of Christmas cards this year. They're already started on Easter cards. So there's a lot of things that they've been doing to that. So we're going to see more cards increase as we go, which gives us typically three more interaction points that we can have with the recipient throughout the year on their birthday, and then these 2 celebrations. So hopefully that's going to help us navigate through with that gap that we have sometimes on that the number of frequency of letters, that cards and pieces can be that filler in between. Next, we had our new recipient goal. We were looking to sign up 700 new recipients, and I forget the exact number. We'll see it ahead, but we were looking to more than double what we did last year for new recipients. We wanted to find people that needed hope and support, and we wanted to sign them up in droves. And the thinking being at the beginning of the year that with the growth we're seeing in volunteers and any effort that we've had to increase our recipients has seemed to have a one-to-one relationship with getting new volunteers. So we've been able to maintain and hold on to that growth as we go through. So we made a very lofty goal of getting 700 new recipients, and we almost got there. We ended up with 675 new recipients. We missed it by 25. We actually missed it because we stopped targeting and looking for whether it's through advertising ways or the different mediums that we go through online, posting about LAD. We've had to dial that back a little bit on my part here, just to make sure that we can still fulfill the ones that are requesting letters now and not create too much of a backlog. So pretty much the last half of the year, we scaled back a lot of those efforts to ensure that we can focus on the core group that we have and getting those letters fulfilled as we go through. So we could have easily probably been double this had we really kept putting that effort in, but we really needed to protect to make sure that we weren't going too long, especially with some of the new signups, to getting them, that blast of letters right at the beginning, but then potentially not being able to go another 4 or 5 months till they hear from us again. And we're trying to stop that. The next goal was new volunteers. We were looking, in order to support all this growth, we were looking for 5,000 new volunteers. And that number was kind of calculated based on the typical percentage of volunteers that sign up with us that end up actually completing an activity with us, whether it's through writing letters or hugs. So we were looking for 5,000. We got about 3,100, so we missed it by about 1,900. That also seemed to see a huge drop off starting in June. Once we hit just about the summer months, we were going from, I want to say it was like 600, 700 volunteers a month signing up down to just 100 or two. And that trend really continued throughout the rest of the year. So it lowered the number of volunteers kind of signing on. In the same vein, though, we had a lot more corporations or corporate volunteer groups signing up where it's one person signing up, but they're doing this activity for a group and sending it in under that one name. So we definitely had more volunteers interacting and doing activities throughout the year. But in terms of the sign up for the portal, we were low on that. Donations, we set our goal very lofty again this year for donations in order to support our growth and needs. So we set a goal of $36,000 in donations. And I am so happy to report that our 2022 actual donations, which includes any stamps donated, any in-kind donations, monetary donations from individuals or corporations, as well as the revenue from the shirt sales that we were doing. We actually beat our goal by $941. So we were amazing in that. Everyone stepped up and just made sure that we were able to be fully funded to continue to do what we do throughout the year. It was absolutely amazing, again, to be able to not have to worry throughout the year of, are we going to have to cut back something? Are we going to have to modify what we do to fit within what we have with budget money coming in? Because when we make our budget, we kind of say we're expecting to get this much in donations. And then based on what that expectation is, we go ahead and set what we can do for the year with that amount. And if we don't get those amounts coming in, if we don't make those goals, then we don't have the ability to kind of pay for the budgeted things that we needed. So it means cutting things out and kind of skimping when we can. And thankfully, pretty much for a whole run since we started, we've never had to do that. We've been right there in terms of having everything funded. So thank you all so much. I can't thank you, the people that have worked tirelessly on applying for grants, that have been working with corporations, that have been anything, birthday fundraisers, all these things. They all add up and they're all amazing and needed, and I appreciate it so much. We did get a question actually about this. Was there much from Amazon Smile? From Amazon Smile, we've been getting checks about between $40 to $60, I think, at a time. Unfortunately, Amazon Smile is shutting down as of this February. So we will see, I think, 2 more donation checks that will come in. But after that point, Amazon is ending their Amazon Smile program. And for those who don't know, it's a program where you can go to amazonsmile.com. It's Amazon, but then any purchases that you do, a certain percentage of what you purchase through Amazon is donated to your favorite charity, and you get to determine who that is. And we've been with Amazon Smile since the very beginning, probably 2015. The first opportunity we could get, we signed up for it. But unfortunately, they're ending that program, as they will be they're going to be focusing their donations in other ways instead of giving, kind of these micro donations like we have where they're doing $100 here, 50 bucks here, they're going to be making larger scale donations to a smaller number of nonprofits. So uh, as Kim says, we will be promoting other ways to donate. Absolutely. We will be giving all the different ways that you can kind of passively even help donate to LAD. The example from Kim here, people who use credit cards and get cash back and also use points to donate can be done to a nonprofit. So we will be, as we continue through, letting you know any of the ways that you can support LAD and help us support our goals for our budget for our donations, because that is going to directly impact the program that we have. If we find that we can get grants that double or triple this amount, then our program grows to kind of to meet that. We can then add in new things that attract new people, that we can give better volunteer appreciation awards. We can do more in terms of the portal that we have and the resources that we have and the technology that we use in order to continue to further LAD through. So it's very much appreciated. I thank you all so much for helping us get to this point, because being able to meet this was the number one goal in itself, to be able to continue to fund our organization. So thank you. Next was stamp donations. Stamps are one of the biggest expenses that we have. I mean, everything that we do, we put a stamp on and we send it. And we were looking for 5,000 stamps to be donated throughout the year, because that helps us lower the amount of cash donations that we need, or monetary donations throughout the year, in order to keep going. If we get our stamps kind of donated and we have them here, that's not something we're pulling out the card for to pay. So we were looking for 5,000, and everyone stepped up amazingly, and we got 12,286 stamps donated throughout this year. We beat our goal by almost 7,300 stamps. This absolutely was one of the biggest things throughout the year, to not have to put and keep purchasing bundles of stamps in order to keep going. Even when we got to the big Christmas card rush that we had coming up, as well as all the other holidays at the same time, we had our set stamps here. We didn't have to go and purchase thousands of dollars in order to get to that point. So in terms of donations, there's I don't think we have anywhere that's accessible type different ways that you can donate, but it is something that we'll put together. We'll let you know that you can donate stamps, you can donate through the website, you can do these different activities in order to help contribute to LAD. If you're looking, even things like birthday fundraisers on Facebook, you can set up for your birthday a fundraiser for your favorite charity, and it could be LAD that is out there, and it allows your friends and family to contribute, knowing that that's your favorite charity. So, and a question here, are there any types of stamps you prefer? Truly US first class stamps, the regular stamps here in the US, those are the probably most preferable. We do use the international stamps, but it's easier for me to purchase those as we need, to ensure that we have the quantities on hand. They're more expensive, and that you're more than welcome to send in those types of stamps. But it's just easier if you're looking to donate stamps. And there's a great easy way you can do it. You don't have to mail them to us. You can go to USPS.com, the United States Postal Service. You can order stamps there, and then put our address as the mailing address, and they'll be sent directly straight to us. Still has your name on it from who it's from. So you do get credit. We do know who it's from. So you're all good there. And then we're able to get those stamps that way as well. So amazing job on stamps. That absolutely, thank you so much on that as well. So those were our goals for the year. And then as we kind of transition, let's look back at the different statistics. What was this year when we look at the numbers? And we've talked about how we got 675 new recipients. Last year we had 279. So almost 3 times, 2.5, 3 times the amount of recipients that we had the prior year found us, signed up, and that we've been sending letters to, which is absolutely amazing. We want more and more people to know what we do and then be able to, as they're getting letters, maybe they're going to help write letters. Maybe they want to support what we do. It really can start a chain, as well as them letting know their friends, family about us, and spreading the word about us. That means that at the end of the year, we had 1,122 active recipients. Those are recipients that are active in the portal that we can write to and are receiving letters still at this time. It's increased about 150 from the prior year, which shows us we are maintaining and keeping people as we go from year to year. We're maintaining more that are signing up. Our biggest number of people that don't end up renewing with us or staying active is when we reach out to them for a profile update. So after you've been getting letters for a year period of time since the last update, we do ask for an update so that we know how things are going and make sure that these letters are still wanted and appreciated. And a lot of times when we send that reminder through, we just don't hear back from the email, and whether it's just not a good email that we have or whether they just don't have the ability to reply, whatever the case may be, that's the number one reason that we have people having their profiles deactive. So since we began, we've sent letters to 3,178 recipients. So we did cross over the 3,000 recipient mark this year, which is absolutely amazing. We sent 7,027 letters. It's about 500 letters more than we did last year. So there is still growth going there. Sent 4,400 holiday cards, which was 821 the prior year. And then 4,000 birthday cards, which was 1,200 the year prior to that. So huge gains in holiday and birthday cards that we're sending out. Overall, that means we sent 15,515 letters and cards, which works out to about 42 letters and cards sent per day out from the office here. So, or from my house, 42 and a half letters and cards and sent every day. That's basically 300 pieces of mail each week, which is just astronomical. It's almost double what we were doing last year. We were doing 23.7 per day. So huge increases for that. For our volunteers, we have 3,097 new volunteers. This is lower than the new volunteers that did sign up in 2021. So we did see a reduction there. That puts us at 9,973 active volunteers on the portal. And that just means that they have an account, not that they've done any, they don't necessarily have to have written. For 2022, 1,200 different volunteers contributed at least one letter, and 264 different volunteers contributed hugs throughout the year. That works out to 11,865 hours for volunteer service for letters, 2,722 hours for hugs, over 14,000 hours from our volunteers in this last year was spent writing and making cards and that. So absolutely amazing. Works out to just a little under 1 hour per letter or card that we've sent out. So absolutely astronomical numbers. That's amazing. Our top letters sent by volunteers, Dee Dee being the absolute rock and amazing person that they are, 1,418 letters. Kimberly, 174, Kimberly L. Rachel, 109, Melissa, 93, Lucy, 86, Penelope, 85. Just amazing to see that in 1 year, the number of people that just continue to keep sending that hope and support and really connect with what we do and want to send more and more letters. For Dee Dee, I mean, it's 1,418 letters just in 2022. That's not since they've started. Kimberly, 174 letters, not since they started, but just in the last year. That's over 3 letters a week for Kimberly. Rachel, more than 2 letters a week, being sent out to those. And Dee, I can't even calculate. That's so astronomical in my head. How they can still, all after this time, still connect with what we do and want to send that hope and support. And not only send it, but have so many people reach out and say, "Oh my gosh, Dee Dee's amazing. Like, loved her letter." So thank you to everyone. And not just those that did the top letters. Even if you were able to send one letter, um, that's one letter that that person got that really could be the difference to them. Every letter counts. So thank you. Thank you. We do have some announcements for some volunteer appreciation winners. We know we're a little bit behind. So what we've done is we've kind of put a whole bunch of winners together. I'll be getting these over to Kim to help out with getting these out. But we have winners for our stamp donations. Once we hit certain milestones, so we have 4 winners: Christine Waite, Trenya Yielding, Catherine McNaughton, 3 winners. For letter writers, we have Victoria Robledo, Lucy Chu, Melissa Alvarez, Chris Link, Haley Esquibel, Sabrina Leja, Amalaki Akbalana. I butchered, I'm sure, some of those. I apologize. And for our hug creators, BG Duweird, Sarayu Avula, and Ashley Mashke. So those are our winners for 2024. To bring us up to speed, I'll be working with the team here. We're going to continue that going into 2023. So each month when we have these review meetings, the State of LAD talking about the month prior and kind of going throughout the year, we will have different categories of winners that we're going to have as we go throughout the year. We'll kind of keep mixing them up. So one of our things is we need people to kind of shout about LAD to social media. So if you take pictures of the hugs that you do and you take a picture and you let us know where that is and we see it, you could be entered potentially for some of our additional winners down the line to reward those that are really helping spread that message of LAD. So thank you. Thank you. And yeah, every letter does count, no matter who says it. That is absolutely true. The amount of feedback that we get for people to just receiving the letter without even opening it, the feelings that they already have, especially after they've opened 1 or 2 of ours in the past or more, and they see that letter from that envelope from us. I've heard more in the last few months of people that say they literally see it and they have to wait. Like they're so like already emotional and they feel like they're going to cry that they have to just wait to open it for a couple days because they're like, oh my gosh, I need to. I just, it means so much to them. So thank you. Every letter is amazing. Our state of the funds. So at the end of the year, we ended with an available funding balance of $7,180. That is the amount that's in our checking account that we could use today for stuff. We did have, as we mentioned before, the income/donations of $36,941. And our expenses were lower than expected, $27,893. And we'll kind of show it in detail as we go up. But the reason for the lesser amount of expenses is we didn't have to pay for stamps. So the stamp expenses obviously kept that number down, as well as one of the things that we're going to look at doing in 2022 is getting a physical location, kind of like a storefront area that we could have people come in and volunteer from to kind of help offload some of the administrative stuff that I do here, the reading of the letters, the addressing them and sending them, that sort of thing. We did make the determination in July during our board meeting that we weren't quite at that place yet that we felt it was the correct way to go with the usage of our funds. We wanted to explore more what the possibilities would be that potentially wouldn't have as big of an impact as having to maintain a location. You have your utility bills, potential for insurance needs, having people kind of volunteering on site. So we're still looking into what that's going to look like. We definitely need to find new and innovative ways to kind of offload some of the stuff that's kind of centralized here, just in the way that we've naturally have run things. So as we start looking throughout this year, we're going to look for those efficiencies in the ways that we can um, create a more efficient administrative back office area. So, but expenses were um, in line pretty much with where we expected when you take out the potential rent expense, the expense needed for furnituring and technology like computers and all. So that worked out very well. This is probably very hard for you all to see, but I'll give you a rundown. Basically, what this is just a chart that shows for the amount that we had for that category in 2021, and then also what we did in 2022. So we can kind of see from a income and expense where we were based on last year. So first thing is our contributions from individuals. This is individuals giving donations. Last year we had 13,292. This year was down at 85.95. So it was about $4,600, $4,700 less that we got from individuals as part of donations. Corporations, businesses that were donating to us, last year was 67.30. This year we had $18,583 donated from corporations, and this was driven by multiple corporations. AT&T, Advent Health, AmeriHealth are three of the biggest that have begun sending. Oh, and Disney, Disney, I can't forget them, have begun sending regularly donations to LAD for their employees that are doing volunteer work with us. So I know like at AmeriHealth, I think it's AmeriHealth, it might be Addition Financial, one of the two. They have a program where every hour, as long as an employee volunteers at least 1 hour with you, they give you a donation for each employee. So that has added up throughout the year as well. So that was a huge increase, almost 19,000 or almost $12,000, sorry, additional that way. In-kind contributions goods, this is the stamp and envelope donations, because those donations mean that we don't have to purchase those items. So those are donated based on their value. We had none in 2021 just because we didn't track it. It was very minor, the amount that we got. For 2022, it was almost $9,000. That's $9,000 in value of stamps in the envelopes that we've gotten throughout the year. That $9,000 is a direct, while it's income, it's also expenses we didn't have to pay. So if we had to purchase those stamps and those envelopes, you're talking that's $9,000 more than the $28,000 almost that we had in expenses. So we're talking $37,000 in expenses. And you're taking that away from income. So we wouldn't have been able to do everything that we wanted without those stamped donations. Merchandise gross income. We didn't sell merchandise like our shirts and things like that. So prior year, this year we did $828 in sales. We also record a merchandise discount if we do give someone a discount for any reason. In this case, we did. So really, when all is said and done, our gross income was $818. What that means is that's the amount people paid, or we got paid, but then we had to pay all of the shipping fees and the production fees. Those online shop fees were about $540. So when all said and done, we actually made about $280 this year from our t-shirt sales. We're definitely looking to do that more throughout this year, finding new designs that we can have that people are going to connect with and want to purchase as a way to help with donations. You then have a shirt that you want to wear. It kind of advertises for LAD, and then we get that donation from it, which is great. I will kind of go through some of these other expenses kind of really quickly. Stamp expense, because we had the larger number of cards and the percentage of people we write to that are now international has gone higher. Stamp expense went from $7,500 to almost $13,000. The stamp expense is the actual cost of all the stamps used. So regardless if we purchased it or if someone donated it, when we put a stamp on an envelope, that cost of the stamp becomes stamp expense. So that is the cost of all the stamps that we use throughout the year. Shipping expense, we did have some items that we had to ship throughout the year. So $241, which we didn't have prior. Our PO box expense, they accidentally charged us about $125 less this year. So our PO box expense went down in 2022. Greeting card expense doubled basically from 1,234 to 2,350. Our portal, the volunteer portal expense definitely increased almost by double, as we've had to use funds throughout the year to try to stabilize and get the portal back running when the platform that we're on basically broke. For those that don't know the story, our portal kind of had a lot of glitches starting around June, July. And the company that runs the portal, that gives the platform that you can build and do things on it, they had upgraded to these new 2.0 servers, and everything broke from the back end to the front end, which is why a lot of the emails don't end up going out, or you might not see things recorded on your side until I run batch processes in the background to update the views. They broke how date timestamps work, which is the biggest issue. If I mark your letter as mailed today, 8/22, or I'm sorry, January 22nd, it is also putting the 8:39 p.m., that's the time it is here, into the field, even though you can't see it. So when the batch process at the end of the night says, give me all the letters that were sent on January 22nd, it has all this extra data at the end. It doesn't pick it up, and it doesn't do anything with the batch to record it, to send it to your portal, to send emails. So we've had to kind of stand in to do a bunch throughout the year on that. Technology service fees increased from about $1,500 to $2,200. What those are, Zoom is a good example. We had to purchase Zoom throughout this year for multiple people here as we're running workshops and being able to do these types of meetings on a true LAD Zoom account. So those have increased with what we do there. Advertising expense, we did start advertising for the first year. Spend about $1,250 to get the word out about LAD through social media. And those had a very positive result as we were going through. We only did it the first half of the year because of the whole thing we were saying before with the letters. So that's definitely something that we look forward to utilizing in the future to help drive more people to sign up with us. New category this year of donation bank fees. So the processor that we use to take donations, they've kind of changed how things go now. So now it's through Stripe and the way that they do their fees. So all the donations that we got throughout the year through our website, there was a $223 bank fee charge on that, which really is the lowest. It's really a small amount considering the probably 15,000 that came through the website that way. So at least it's low. And then that is the only thing, the biggest thing. The last thing on there is the office technology space expense. Last year we had the grant that we had to use that will paid for some technology pieces here. We didn't get that grant. We didn't apply for it this year because it was specifically a COVID thing. So we did not have any office technology or furniture expense this year. We do have a question about whether potentially the drop off of the volunteer letter writers in June corresponds to the malfunction of the portal. It's a very good possibility. When you sign up for the portal, there is automated processes that run on it that when you sign up sends you the welcome email, that sends you the link to the orientation, things like that, that I'm not positive, and there's no way as part of how the system is that I can validate whether that was working or not. We did get some questions from people that were along the lines of, hey, I signed up but didn't get the email just yet. can I, log in or do whatever? So we kind of changed the sign up process to say, hey, you're going to get an email kind of with all this stuff, but you can just sign in and you're good to go from there. And we tried to build pages on the portal that kind of there's the launch page now that has the information there that they can go to and instructions to help them walk through. But absolutely, that absolutely could be a big part. At the beginning, when the portal was really breaking and the company NAC they're like, we don't know what's going on. There was a period of probably 3 or 4 weeks that things were really bad, that signups weren't going through. And I think that absolutely could be part of the reason. And even today, I'm not 100% sure that every email is going out and every background process, because I do still see where people are like, hey, I didn't get an email. And I look, be like, oh no, that's been in there for days. Let me go ahead and try to push it through again. So great question. Yes, I think it is. And that's why that's definitely going to be a priority throughout this year of trying to get off this platform, because they have gone downhill so quickly, to see what else we can do. And I've done some pre-work on potential options, but there's pros and cons to each of them. So really we'll see throughout the year. Hopefully we can get a grant that will help us be able to make that leap easier. But if not, we can definitely, throughout this year, we're going to have to look at new options to ensure that we're not causing anything that would, or we're not doing anything would cause someone to not want to sign up. Like if they're not getting the emails, if it's not going through, if they're getting frustrated that um, they're not receiving notifications or able to see their stuff on their claimed page. Those are huge things that we don't want to have as part of their experience. Yeah, and Kim is very true. June was also a big month. uh, we've basically, the board has been growing. We've been taking on and growing new things for each person kind of taking on. And a lot happened all at the same time, and that doesn't help either. I've had one of the most challenging years in terms of um, being able to keep moving forward, just because work work is one of the biggest drivers. I was on a project um, that you might have heard of it, the Galactic Star Cruiser at Disney. I was part of the team that made that a reality from a finance perspective in my role, and that just took so much earlier. As we've been going through, it took so much time, and then as we transitioned from that, I was then given a new role to launch a new piece of software, and then that was doing like 100 hours plus a week. So um, the burnout, it's been tough to get things going. So um, and Kim's correct. How dare we all have day jobs? Yes, that is the one thing about LAD. Uh, no one here. It's not our only job. We all have families. We have jobs elsewhere. This is all what we do is our passion, and yeah, I think that definitely was part of that as well. There was a lot of things happening all at the same time. Moving on, let's look at how we did last year based on that magical random number we throw out for the budget. Um, when we look at our total income, we kind of bucketed the different ones between individuals, corporations. We expected 20,000 from individuals. We got 8,500. So we we're short our budget there, but we made up for it in our corporations and in-kind goods that we've already talked about, and the merchandise sales. So we beat our budget of what we asked for by $941.36 or 63 cents. So that's perfect. That we hit exactly what we wanted. For our expenses, anything in green in the list below for expenses means that we were better than budget. So our stamp expense, we budgeted $13,000 and we got there within $8.09. Shipping expense, PO box expense, those were all within line. Greeting card expense was right there. We had higher than expected website expenses. Our website costs for the website itself went up this year unexpectedly. We were expecting 400. It almost doubled, so it was about 731. And the volunteer portal, it was only going to be about $1,350 this year. It almost doubled as well. as we had to purchase new solutions to put Band-Aids in it. Basically, there are automation programs that I have built now that are attached to the portal that help do some of those nightly batches and sending the emails, things like that, so that they're on a more consistent basis. So the volunteer portal expense, once we get the portal piece uh, taken care of, we'll go ahead and lower that expense. So um, office supplies right in line, reference stuff, crafting supplies right there, email expenses right in line. Technology service fees, that's where we saw the increase. We budgeted about 1,000. What we consider technology service fees are any of the automation software. Zoom is a big one. Those types of things. So we did spend more as we had to get Zoom up and running, and a couple other pieces. Really under budget on a few others. Volunteer appreciation expense, some of that got pushed off until the one that we're going to send here to catch up. So that was under budget. Advertising expense was under. Promotional items expense was under. So those are all good. Our donation bank fees increased slightly. That was fine. Accounting expense, we got hit with an additional, basically our accounting program that we have, because of the amount of donations we have running through it, had to increase to the next tier. So that went from $354 to $474, which is really fine. And the online shop expense, which we had never sold things, we thought maybe it was $100, but it was $547 for all the shipping and that. So the last three items in blue were what we were going to try to work towards. So it was a rent expense, office furniture expense, and office technology expense. Those did not occur. So those are $0, freeing up some of that budget. So our total expenses, 27,800 versus the budget. So we were basically $8,000 under budget, which makes our net income per se just about $9,000 this year. Great question. Rent expense, those will not happen this year. I don't see a path forward right now where a physical location is going to be maintainable right now. I would love to open a location and do that, but then we have the issue of you have to have someone in it all the time. There's still a lot of pieces that need to be worked out in terms of how we would staff it and that. So we will not be pushing those rent expense and those off. It'll actually be dropping off the budget. And this year, when we create the new budget, we will be looking for the other options that we have. But yeah, as Kim said, I mean, we are a very unique organization. We have a larger range and larger base than pretty much any other organization. So it's very hard to centralize and have a location here for processing, because now I need to find local volunteers that can be reliable and be able to staff it and help with all that. So in the meantime, we're going to look at alternative options. It could be that once every week or once every other week, maybe I get a room at the library, one of the meeting rooms. They're free. And have people who want to help kind of start doing that on a basis to be able to help process letters and help out with a lot of the pieces that we do. And then maybe that would grow the relationships with people that we would then find a core group that maybe could sustain. But for now, I think that's going to be on the blue sky later. But we really have a lot of things that, from a budget perspective, we could do now that would further what we do better than that. So, which we'll definitely be looking through. Yeah, and universities with the rentable rooms, that is a great idea. Also, one of our board members has some space available that we can use as well. The only thing for me is that in order to get there, it's like a 30-minute drive, which becomes the more prohibitive part of it, is finding a central place that makes sense in order to get everything done. So who knows, maybe we'll get a ton of grants and then I can just quit my job, retire from that, and then just do lab full time. And then that makes it easier, because then then I could just put all 100 hours of work in a week into LAD, and that would be great. One day. All right, 2023 budget. So I don't have one to officially share just yet. It'll be going through the approval phase here in the next couple days, but it will be published and available shortly. As a high level for you all, our goal, our hope is to get $40,000 in donations for this year. That's monetarily and in-kind donations. And we will be matching that with $40,000 in expenses. We are expecting to fund one way or another a new volunteer portal and a website this year. Based on what we've seen for the cost of a new website, we're probably going to need some help with grants. But if we have 40,000 coming in at expenses, that's a big chunk that we can start looking maybe at alternatives to the plan that we had for the website, if that's the case. So they're kind of high end type goals yet again, but knowing we hit 36 and the amount of increase that we've had year over year, definitely I think it's going to be within our realm of capability, if not being able to just get right through it. We're going to have a bunch of people working with Doreen on the fundraising committee for grants. Grants are going to be huge. If we can get even one grant during this grant cycle this next year, that in itself could fund everything that we're looking from a project perspective. So, so the budget will be published, put out there shortly, but it's going to be a stretch, not a stretch. It's more than we did this year, but it's definitely within reach of what we're looking to do. And then goals. All right. So our goals. The last few years, I've done very number-centric goals, throwing a number out there of let's try to reach this, let's try to reach this. And really this year, I want to really challenge everybody to look at kind of where our goals are, what our vision is for this next year, and challenge you all to help us find ways to get there. We don't have a direct trail that's going to lead us from here to where we want to go. We really need to create that trail as we go, as well as everything that we've done in LAD. We've had to create it as we go. There's just not a blueprint out there, a framework of what we do to kind of follow. So we kind of make our own. So the first thing we need to kind of work on and figure as a team, how can we increase our letter fulfillment capabilities? And from multiple angles. We want to look at how do we retain our volunteers. So those of you that write with us, we would love feedback on different ways that would, and I don't know if motivation is the right word, but things that would help ensure that LAD stays top of mind as you kind of navigate your journey through us. So how can we increase the retention of people that write letters, as well as increase the frequency that our recipients receive letters? So we want to be able to get them more letters once a month is kind of the barometer I'd like to hit eventually, and then even getting better than that. How can we increase the number of new volunteers that write letters? Is there a way that we can design our orientation or our initial information that we send out that makes people more comfortable to want to write letters, that really kind of pushes them and gives them kind of that laser focus of, wow, that would be something I really want to do. And then helping us find new groups and partnerships that are going to help us write more letters. So whether it's working with corporations of creating a volunteer event or community volunteer events, or ways that we can find non-traditional volunteers to help write letters. One of the suggestions, better instructions on what is expected of a letter. That is a great point. And it's one that I've kind of struggled with because I don't want to make and I get exactly where you're coming from, but I don't want to make it so that every letter is identical. So we try to leave it very open-ended. We say a lot of, this is okay, but don't do this, and kind of at a high level. And then we want everyone to use their own creativity to create it. So we haven't had much of a framework, but I definitely understand. We do get a lot of questions of, well, can I talk about this? Can I do this? Like, what does this? So yes, we can absolutely do a better job at onboarding what the expectations are in a letter. So maybe there isn't that anxiety towards it or that look of, wow, I don't want to do this wrong, or maybe not be helping someone. Maybe I'll be doing worse. So maybe kind of giving that hesitancy. We'd love to eliminate that barrier. So that is great feedback. Um, Snazzy goals to reach for imaginary internet points. There's a term for that, and it's something we're definitely looking for. Gamifying. So finding achievements, sort of thing that we can build into the portal, and that's one of the things that I was working on with the new portal that I'm. It's still on the side burner that hopefully I can do more coding and getting into. But basically, if you hit certain barometers, you get a patch, a badge, whatever you want to call it, that then shows that you've achieved this piece. And it'll give you, for people like me that are motivated by numbers and flashy things. And, I'd look and be like, well, what can I do to get the next one? Oh, I need to do you know, send in 2 sets of hugs or 100 envelopes, or, we could have those different things there and create these fun ways that people then can see, as Kim calls it, the pathways for a volunteer, different ways that they can interact with us. And that would open up kind of that visibility of things they can do. So, so definitely something that we have in the works that we want to do. It's just something that's very technical to try to do with the limited skill set that we have. I think I'm doing pretty good with being able to code it, but it has to be manageable and sustainable. So we have to make sure that whatever we put in works, that no one's having to spend 20 hours a week to make sure the conditions were correct to, we need it to be. Um, but oh yeah, I am definitely highly motivated by imaginary uh, internet points. I, yeah, I'm a sucker for achievements in general. The whole numbers go up. Got to keep doing whatever it is to get to that next level. So definitely, those are great suggestions and things that we're definitely going to look to. How can we utilize things like that to help? Because the more retention that we have, the more letters that people are able to write, that is direct hope and support going to others. So um, absolutely great suggestions. Uh, Another goal is a new website. We are severely limited with the website that we have, with the capabilities that it has. Even something simple like a calendar that you can go and look at what events are upcoming. Um, the platform that we're on, and most of the free to build platforms, just they don't do it well. It's just so restrictive. And our website, we just can't, from the free, or the build it on your own option is a better way to put it. The build on your own websites, it's just so hard to have the site built in a way that reflects who we actually are, things that we do, and be able to put it in a way that makes sense. So our goal this year is to be able to get a custom built website by a professional company that will go through and build the menus the way that we want, the sections the way we want, fill out the pages, and be able to get a framework of our site that better reflects us and better reflects Letters Against Depression. So that is one of our that's one of our big goals for this year, is that website. We've talked a lot about the volunteer portal. We have to get off of what we have. The company that we use is just they're trash. They provide a platform, and then users can go in and build their own application. And that's what I've done. I've built the volunteer portal based on the framework they have, the databases, and created the system that allows us to do what we do. But it's, with the upgrades that they've been doing lately, they've been breaking things, and they're just throwing their hands up like, we don't know how to fix this. Or we don't know what we did wrong on this part. So a lot of the breaks, a lot of things have been happening. Everything was working great, just moving along with the portal. And then come that June, July timeframe, it just stopped working when they did their upgrade. So we're hoping to find a better option. There are better options that are out there. It's just going to become a point of finding who we want to go with the capabilities they allow, and then how we are going to build and sustain it. I will probably be able to build it and sustain moving forward, but I just need to make sure that I don't get out of my comfort zone for what I can do from a technology standpoint, because I just learn it as I go. It's not my typical forte. So the volunteer portal is our third goal, and then the final, find grants that's going to help us expand our programs. There are so many opportunities out there for grants that we can apply for that um, are huge sources of donations or monetary ability to put things in. So things like the new website, the new portal. If we were to get a amazing grant and they granted us $100,000, then we could actually have a new volunteer portal built by a actual tech company and maintained and sustained through that grant alone. It's free money that they will send us that we can then utilize to build upon. We're doing a lot of grant applications now for the website. So those grants are going to be a huge piece as we move forward, trying to lower the burden of our main source of donations from coming from individuals. It's amazing that so many people connect with us and will donate, $100, $25, $250, $1,000. People are so generous and want to help, but I would love to be able to take away that burden of them feeling that they have to sustain what we do and help get these grants that will keep that moving. So those are our 2023 goals. We'll put more framework around these about ways that as we engage with you all and you kind of let us know ways that maybe how we can retain volunteers, the things that we kind of talked about here. As we get those, we'll start utilizing whatever communication we can, whether it's the newsletter or ways to continue to drive those goals as we go through. And that is the whole deck for this year, for the recap. Kim does point out, email Kim, ladinnovationcom@gmail.com. Absolutely. If you have any thoughts, if you have any ideas, anything that we've talked about that you're like, hey, I have a suggestion, even if you think it's really off the wall, just please let us know. We truly need a diverse set of ideas and thoughts and suggestions to make us the best that we can be. So really, any suggestions you have, we want to hear it. We'd love to see if there's ways that we can utilize that suggestion to make LAD better. One of the questions, social chat area for volunteers. We actually do have some, but it's very hard to keep the list out there to keep refreshing. It's one of those we launched a while back, a Discord channel, which for those that don't know, Discord is like a social media chat application but it's like a message board, but in real time. So you can actually like go back, close out of it. And when you come back, you'll see all of the chat that's already been going, all the questions people are asking, all of that is there. And then you could join in, ask questions, chat. We've done movie nights through it. So we do have that Discord server. And it's actually been more lively in the last month or so. More people have been in there asking questions and interacting through that platform. So we definitely need to find ways to keep that top of mind out there, like being able to put it like on the Facebook group or something so people can see more of different ways as a volunteer that you can ask those questions. And as I've fallen off of Facebook almost completely, I barely have any time to get on it lately. Discord is one place where a lot of people have visibility to that question. So if you ask a question or you post something there, there's a bunch of people that can kind of answer that really quick there as well. So especially if I can't jump on or if I don't see it for, a a while. Yes, the Instagram post, social media has been going great. Um, I love the way that the interns and social media team there are getting so many posts out that are just people are interacting with, and they're so cute. Um, so yes, those are doing
There's
great.
the Facebook LID family group too.
Yes. So we do have the volunteer main one, which we've kind of that one's for asking questions or announcements, updates, absolutely for LAD. And then we know that so many of our volunteers are so passionate and just really good friends and have become very good friends and almost like a family. So there is a secondary Facebook group as well for the LAD family that people are able to go, and a lot of people you can um, it's just a family atmosphere. People kind of talk about what's going on in their life, or um, if they're looking for some help with words of support and things like that. So it's a great support group and family environment as well. So trying to grow those more and more, and kind of let people know that those options are out there to um, invest more in our group community stuff. All right, so um, totally available here if anyone has any questions, if you have concerns, if anything that I've gone through in the deck, if you want to review again, I am here for that as long as you would like. Um, whatever questions you have, it doesn't have to be about this meeting. Anything lad oriented. I am here and available. So um, you feel free. You can just jump in. You don't have to type. You can unmute and ask your questions. We can go over. I could pull up the slide again if there's something specific with the budget you want to know, or um, anything at all is completely open. So I will open it to the floor.
I was late. Could I see the thing of how we met our goals slide?
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and pull that up. So we were hit or miss on a lot of our goals. I'll share the screen there. So the first goal was letters sent. We created a very lofty goal of 15,000, but we only had 7,027 cents. Still an increase from last year. Um, but we saw more and more people have been migrating to the index card artwork, birthday celebration cards, decorated envelopes and hugs and things like that. So um, it definitely, the number of cards skyrocketed. The number of letters did not go as high as we expected. So we didn't meet that one. Next one was card sent. We were looking for 3,000. We actually did over 8,000. So we beat the goal by 5,400. Because a lot of people have shifted to doing those, um, feeling more comfortable probably with that process. New recipients, we were looking for 700. We got really close at 675, but we actually kind of hit the brakes on reaching out and finding new recipients, because the number of letters that we've been able to send out per month has really drastically gone down since about June or July, causing delays to getting letters out. Um, so we've kind of slowed down the new um, recipients, and that's actually a good point. What happens is when a new recipient signs up, um, many people flock to the new recipients, being they're looking to be one of the first that write to them. Maybe because it's a smaller list, they feel less intimidated at looking at it. But regardless, um, we end up averaging probably anywhere between 4 and 12 letters sent to a brand new recipient, because of the number of people that claim them right at that first bit. So most of the time now, people are getting a blast of letters right when they sign up, which is great for those that they're struggling at that moment, that they're looking to get that hope and support. And we kind of get a whole bunch. But I've been trying to find ways that we can kind of control that a little better, because if you get, say, 25 people sign up in a month and they're all getting on average 8 to 9 letters, that's taking up most of the letters we're getting through the month. So then getting through our continued contact recipients, those that have already received a letter, takes a little bit longer to get through. And so new recipients just are getting so much at once that we're trying to find ways that we can lessen that amount without impacting. Because in the past, I was like, oh, well, if 4 people have them claimed, then we'll go ahead and I'll just make it disappear with the name so that more people won't write to them. But then what we find is we have a very high rate of those that claim recipients that will not send in the letter. So then there's a delay between everyone, then it gets unclaimed a week later. More people claim and then they don't write to them. So we're finding some scenarios where people were going way too long because we were restricting how many people can claim them. Once we've opened it up, now it seems like everyone writes to them and it just creates that mismatch. So one of the goals we were talking about is definitely how do we increase the amount of letters that we can get to go around. The next one was new volunteers. We're looking for 5,000. We didn't hit that goal. We did 3,097. But as with the other areas, we saw that drop in new volunteers from that May, June area, which contributed to a few hundred volunteers almost each month, less than we were expecting for the second half of the year. Donations, we were hoping our goal was 36,000. We actually got $36,941.63. We beat that goal, which is amazing. And then the last one was stamp donations. We were looking for 5,000 stamps and we got 12,286. So we beat that again by more than double what we were looking, which has been a huge help. All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, anytime, anytime. Katrina or Christina, any questions on your side?
Hi there. No questions, but I'm still doing a lot of calligraphy, and I moved on to be the president of our guild here in Portland. And so there's a nationwide envelope contest that's really popular with calligraphers that was started actually through the National Postage Museum. But I would love to talk about something where we could either collaborate on judging or, oh, sorry, I'll do this. Collaborate on judging or some kind of theme where, we can reach out to calligraphers who obviously love writing and doing envelopes are a big thing, especially as far as making money. Regardless, I was going to send you a link to the competition I'm referencing and see what you think about that. And maybe we could put together a topic or, reach out to some people to be judges, maybe not necessarily calligraphers, but maybe some of your big donors, representative from Disney or, something like that. So let that percolate in your mind a little bit. And I think that could be really fun.
Yeah.
And so the one I'm talking about, there's categories for grade school students and, so there's a whole lot of different awards that could be given.
No, that's great. Especially because something like that, one, the concept is really cool, but then also the photo aspect, being able to utilize the amazingness that, I can't say enough on how beautiful your writing is. That being able to utilize something like that as one of the visuals that we utilize on social media posts to show, and people being like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And absolutely. So send me the information. We'll definitely look through and see absolutely what we can do to maybe jump in to do something like that may help drum up stuff too.
Yeah, there's hundreds of guilds in the US that I've got access to. So, we could really blast this out to a lot of artists. And it could be really fun. So
yeah, and it increases the exposure too in that community for maybe not calligraphy in terms of envelope writing, but it could be that they create index card artwork or a little
Mhm.
bit larger artwork that could be included with letters that then has an amazing saying that just looks beautiful that they're connecting with and wanting to do. Finding
Yeah,
that, I have this talent for this, but maybe I want to find ways that I can utilize that to maybe help that maybe
right.
this is the way. So absolutely no, that sounds great. Yeah.
Excellent.
And then Christina, I cannot uh connect with what you said enough. We definitely want to make sure that we find ways to make it easier, but then we understand completely that the emotional support piece for this, the toll that sometimes it takes with everything you put in is there. So um, it's very hard when you're depressed. This past year as well, it's been the most challenging year that I've ever had. Um, Being able to overcome some of those to keep going and keep moving forward. So um, I am always open to being an ear if you have thoughts on ways that maybe you found that was um, overwhelming for times, or ways that we can be more sensitive to those that maybe, yeah, they're putting so much emotional pieces into this that it becomes tough to navigate. But um, things like maybe increasing to send postcards beyond just the birthday. That's a great piece. I've been thinking about how we can potentially add in additional ways to fill the gaps between letters. And postcards are a way that we could potentially do that.
That would
Like,
reduce
oh, go
us
ahead.
if we sent birthday postcards.
Yeah. Um, and so the question here was potential maybe send postcards beyond just the birthday. And that's a good idea. I think my concern with it in the past has been, is it going to be an option like hugs that pulls people away from letters, which is needed for those that maybe it's hard to emotionally support going through, and a lot of the inner pieces that go to writing postcards is different than, yeah, writing a 2 to 4 page letter. So I understand that completely. um I'm absolutely open to doing it, and in a way that we don't pull from the number of letters. So finding ways that maybe in this case, because you've talked about sending postcards that that would work for you, maybe creating some way that people can interact and let us know ways that they'd like to potentially help that aren't on our normal radar, and then we can go on a case by case. So in this case with you, you're like, hey, I have all these postcards, I can easily do this, and this is what I want to do. And I'd be like, that's great, because if you were doing that and we had 1, 2 people that kind of were in that niche area, that's great. It's the harder part of opening it up as a program wide piece that then people may be like, hey, let me get postcards. But then the other offside to that is postcards are great because you can actually put a cheaper stamp. So it's not as much of a cost for sending something that's a smaller, um, potentially a smaller um, impact, although that's not the right word, smaller than a letter in terms of that reveal that they get. Um, but that would be the other thing is, yeah, just not sending from us, opening it to a wider audience where then we have hundreds of postcards being sent out per month that are going through a larger uh, amount of stamp expense to get there, if that makes sense. Um, and I like your idea, maybe open it as an option after a number of letters sent. And there's definitely ways we can do it. And I've actually seen a bunch of people lately, and I'm okay with it too, is if you like people with cards, they'll have a greeting card and they'll write a letter in the card, and then they'll have an extra piece of paper inside to like finish the letter. And they kind of use that as their, it's not overwhelming to start with a card. So that's something out of the box that works too. So I would absolutely work with you, Christina, on if postcards are really the way that you feel that you would make the most impact and be able to send that hope and support, I would totally get behind that and work with you on that as a something that would be specific that would be okay and perfect and built around what you would like to do with it. Yeah. Mm. All right. Absolutely. And Christina, please know, just reach out to me via email when you kind of think what you think would work for you in that space. If you're looking to do postcards, reach out, let me know kind of your thoughts, and we'll put a framework around what would work best um, to make sure that definitely it fits within your um, emotional allowance, your ability to kind of navigate through. You want to help, but being able to do that. And so yeah, so yeah, and that's a great, and truly, I'm not worried about the equivalent if 8 postcards would be considered a letter. I'm okay with that. I could even create a new class um, instead of letter or card, but that part I'm not too worried about. So we'll figure out what works. That sounds great. And yeah, Katrina, I mean, for you too, I mean, the ones that the stuff you do, they're definitely something that on a smaller scale, I think would work great for what we do. All right. One last call for any other questions, any other clarifications or thoughts before we go ahead and call it an end to the meeting. Going once, going twice. All right. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you being here. This was recorded. We'll go ahead and once this is done, hopefully tonight, if not, it'll be tomorrow, we will get this converted over, put up onto YouTube, and we will put the link out on social media for you to be able to watch again if you would like. So thank you. I appreciate you all, and I can't thank you all enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good night.
Take care, Robert. Good night.
Good night.